Hey everybody, this is Darren Van Dam, and you are watching Flick Connection, the show that helps you get more out of movies. And today I'm going to tell you about all the best movies and new series coming to Netflix in April 2019. So to start this list off, I'm going to fire through some that I know most people have seen that I still recommend, just to let you know that they're going to be on Netflix. Then I'll spend a little bit more time on my top picks. Then we'll get to some Netflix originals that they're adding during the month of April, as well as some things leaving in April that you want to make sure you watch sooner than later. Now all of these will get added on April 1st until I get to about the middle of the video, and then I'll tell you what the date is right here, so you'll be sure not to miss anything. But on April 1st, they add The Bone Collector with Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie, a really good crime thriller about a detective that is bedridden. It's good. It's from the 90s. If you haven't seen it, I do recommend it. The Fifth Element is getting added. This is probably one people have seen the most, but just a classic sci-fi movie. Again, highly recommend if you have not seen it. Evolution's a really great comedy sci-fi movie. The classic Friday the 13th gets added. And for something scary for the kids, Monster House is a really good animated movie that is probably a little bit intense for really young kids, but still very good. I enjoy watching this one myself. And then I Am Legend gets added. If you haven't seen it, the genie from the new Aladdin movie is walking around Manhattan. He's the sole survivor of an apocalypse. Really good stuff. The only drawback to this one is that it's PG-13, and the subject matter really should have been rated R. Speaking of rated R movies, Deliverance gets added on the 1st. Just an absolute classic movie. Netflix has been a little bit starved for good classic movies. They only have a handful on the platform at a time, and this is certainly one of them. Obviously a very disturbing movie, but very, very good. Just a solid movie from beginning to end. If you're maybe one of my younger viewers and you've never seen it, watch it, but don't watch it planning to be entertained. Watch it and plan to be horrified. Just like some classic novels are required reading, even though this movie is based on a novel, this movie is just something you need to watch in your lifetime.
What's it like?
Aren't you in prison?
No. Armed robbery.
Bonnie and Clyde gets added on the 1st, which is a great companion with The HIGHWAYMEN, which is the latest Netflix original. I just reviewed it. There will be a link to that review in the description, the full review. But that movie is about the men that hunted down Bonnie and Clyde, and Bonnie and Clyde is another great classic movie. Just amazing for a bunch of reasons. A little slow at times, but that's the case with a lot of classic movies. But the end of this one was one of the first times people had seen violence like it on screen anywhere. So really a milestone movie for that purpose. And then also just a really great telling of the Bonnie and Clyde story. And then you can watch The HIGHWAYMEN, which is the telling of the other side of the same story. Penelope is a little out of my wheelhouse. This is a romantic comedy, but it's very, very interesting. Christina Ricci plays a girl who literally has a pig nose, and she cannot find a suitor. And it's that clever twist that makes this movie work for me. It's something different. I don't feel like I'm watching the same thing over and over again. The weird thing about it, though, is this is probably my 3rd time recommending it on the channel because it seems to like come and go every 6 months or so. So it has been on Netflix before. They're just adding it back. They missed Valentine's Day by about a mile, but if you're in a situation where you want to or need to watch a romantic movie, this is a good one. This is a solid recommendation in that genre from me.
Thug Life.
One of my personal favorites on this list is Pineapple Express. I've loved it since it came out. To me, this is like the modern day Blues Brothers, whereas the Blues Brothers was really hilarious in just how many cop cars they smashed and stacked up in the climax of that movie. Pineapple Express does almost the same gag, and it's almost the same type of buddy movie, but with uber violence at the end. And this movie, to me, is genius in the way it depicts violence. It's very, very funny, and even though it's entertaining and it's a lot of action, it never is like too much, and some of it's gory, but they always manage to find the funny in it, which is why I love this one so much.
I'm getting heartburn. Tony, do something terrible.
And then Snatch, an early Guy Ritchie movie with Brad Pitt and a whole host of British actors. I've always loved this movie. It's such a great piece of entertainment. It's so fun and funny to watch, and also a great gangster movie, which is why I'm going to be including it later in the week on my top 20 gangster movies that you can currently watch on Netflix. Before moving on to a whole slew of Netflix originals, if you like this type of content, definitely click that subscribe button and be sure to click the little bell icon so you get notified when I put out new videos just like this one, but completely different. On April 5th, Our Planet gets added, which is a new Netflix original series, a documentary series similar to Planet Earth and Blue Planet, and it looks really good. The footage I've seen from this one looks really impressive, so I'm excited to check it out. I loved Planet Earth when it came out, so I'll at least be giving this one a peek. Plus, the Planet Earth ones did an excellent job. As interesting as they were, did an excellent job of putting me to sleep for the better part of a year.
Did you get it? Did you get the joke? You got it? I just felt like you should have gave a bigger laugh. I don't think your laugh would have should have been.
On April 2nd, Kevin Hart has a new special getting released, and Netflix has had some of the biggest names in comedy, and Kevin Hart is certainly one of them. I've been a fan of his stand-up and his movies for a while, so I'll definitely be checking this one out. Also on April 5th, a new Netflix original movie, Unicorn Store, gets added. This stars Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson. It's actually written and directed by Brie Larson. I would do a full review on this one, but I'm well aware that Brie Larson does not care what my opinion is on this movie.
67% of the top critics reviewing the 100 highest grossing movies in 2017 were white males. Am I saying that I hate white dudes? No, I'm not. Other people besides white dudes like Star Wars, and I'm also saying I don't hate white dudes.
I hate white dudes.
Also on the 5th, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina Season 2 gets added. If you were into the first season, I'm sure the second season's going to be good. I did not watch it, but I know it was popular, so I at least want to let you know the new season is getting added. And then on April 10th, You vs. Wild is a new series with Bear Grylls. It's been a long time since we've seen Bear Grylls out in the wild. I was a fan of the show when it was on, even if everything wasn't completely real. It was still great entertainment. I would imagine this series is going to be just as good or damn near it, so I'll be checking this one out. I know I don't have a lot of time to watch series with all the movie watching I have to do, but I'm at least going to try to fit in a couple episodes of this. And then the very next day on the 11th, Black Summer gets added, which is actually a spin-off of the series Z Nation. This one looks good. Z Nation was very popular, but even if you did not watch it, from what I understand, it will be a standalone piece. You could watch it and enjoy it on its own. This looks like one that I would do a full review on. So as I get more information as it releases, you could expect to see a full review from me on the 11th when it drops. The Silence is a new kind of horror movie that the synopsis of it sounds like a straight ripoff of A Quiet Place, which I loved. So I'll be interested to check this one out, but I can't imagine that it would be or why it would be better than A Quiet Place. I'm not really sure why Netflix is releasing it. I guess they're just riding the coattails of the movie. It'll probably be a decent piece of entertainment, but again, depending on what I'm hearing leading up to it, I may or may not do a review, but that one actually gets added on the 12th immediately after. And I have noticed something with the Netflix originals, the better ones that they have, meaning just the ones they're a little more proud of, because keep in mind, they've seen these, they've done test audiences and the whole nine. They release them on Fridays, and by themselves. They don't release them around a bunch of other Netflix original releases. I could be proven wrong in April, but they are really stacking a lot of these titles on top of each other. On April 25th, the Hateful 8 gets an extended version added to Netflix. This may be the one that was on the Blu-ray. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen it. It's been a long time since I've seen the Hateful Eight, relatively. It just came out a couple of years ago. But I would watch the extended one, especially considering I haven't seen it in a while. I enjoyed this movie. It's by no means my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, but even though it is a Western, kind of like Django, I actually related this one a lot more to Reservoir Dogs, which, as beloved as Reservoir Dogs is, I do like that movie a lot. It also is not my favorite. I'm just not a fan of that like single room plotline format. I mean, I like it sometimes. I don't love when Tarantino does it, and these two movies are similar in that respect, and they play out fairly similarly as well. So, if you love Reservoir Dogs, I would imagine you bothered to watch The Hateful Eight, but you can check out the extended version this month. Another Netflix original series, Street Food, gets added on the 26th. I love me some street food, and I love food shows. Since being a cord cutter, I don't have Food Network anymore. I don't have Bizarre Foods. I don't get any of that. So I'm excited to see something like that getting added to Netflix. Another series that I'm at least going to watch the first episode of. Also on the 26th, The Sapphires is a movie from 2012. That's kind of a comedy. It's about an Aboriginal singing group in the 60s. All, dark-skinned Aboriginal women that go to Vietnam to entertain the troops, and it's a good movie if you're into that subject matter, sort of the 1960s race relations, 1960s kind of pop music. If you like all those elements and movies about them, this is a good one, but it's not necessarily one I would recommend to people who could care less about any of those things I just rattled off. On the 29th, a movie from South Korea that just came out last year called Burning gets added, and I am looking forward to seeing this one. I heard rave reviews about it. It looks a little dark, but very, very good. Like I said, I've heard great things. Never got around to seeing it in 2018. I was going to be renting it at some point, but because it's getting added on the 29th, I'm just going to wait. This is another one. Maybe I'll do a standalone review, especially if I like it enough. That's kind of my thing with this channel. I'm not necessarily doing reviews as much as I'm doing recommendations. So I don't really do negative reviews because who wants to hear about a movie that they shouldn't watch? I'm only telling you about movies that I think you should watch, why you should watch them, and what other movies, like if you liked other movies, you might like this one. So I may do the same thing with Burning if I think it is a good recommendation, but I am anticipating it to be. Also on the 29th, The Imitation Game gets dropped. This one got nominated for a ton of awards just a couple of years ago, and it is very good. It's a good wartime movie, but it has been on Netflix before, so it's not a great recommendation. It left, it's coming back. Big deal. If you haven't seen it yet, you might want to check it out. It is very good, but you had a chance before and you blew it. And then on the 30th, Anthony Jeselnik has a comedy special getting added. I think Anthony Jeselnik is hilarious. However, I do need to tell you, his content is very dark, very inappropriate. You are going to hear very offensive stuff, so you were warned. The title of his special is Fire in the Maternity Ward, so if that doesn't say enough, again, you've been warned. I actually went to one of his shows once, and as offensive as his show was, the stuff he said to the audience at the tail end of the show was way worse. All right, and we're not done. Here are some movies that are going to be leaving in April, so if you're fortunate enough to be a subscriber, meaning you saw this video as soon as it dropped, put some of these on your watch list and watch them immediately. On April 1st, Casino Royale is leaving along with a long list of other Bond movies, including some classics like Dr. No. Happy Feet is leaving, which is a great movie for the kids. If you need to watch a kids movie this weekend, do it now because it's leaving, but it is very good. Same director as Fury Road, actually, and I see, believe it or not, I see a lot of similarities in terms of the saturation, some of the action in it. Obviously, they're on opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're painted with the same brush. Heat, one of my favorite movies on the platform right now. Unfortunately, it will not be on my top 20 gangster movies list. It would have been, but because it's leaving, it's going to miss out. Also, LA Confidential, another great crime movie that takes place in LA that's also got a great shootout. Not as good as Heat, but still damn good. Luther is one of my favorite shows on the platform, starring Idris Elba. He plays a really tough detective. Seasons 1 through 4 are getting dropped on the 1st, so you kind of missed your opportunity. But I have a feeling Luther's going to be back, especially when a new season drops. And then Silver Linings Playbook actually gets dropped on the 18th. So those are the most noteworthy ones leaving in April. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. But I will keep making videos like this as long as you keep watching them. Thanks for checking this one out, and you will see me on the next one. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so a number of ways, but right now, the best thing you can do is go check out the podcast. It's a great way to learn more about movies, learn more about movie recommendations and reviews that I cannot fit into this show. And a lot of people just put the earbuds in and listen to it and work as background noise, but there's a YouTube channel. You can also listen to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, wherever you listen to music, it's probably there too. So check it out. If you do, leave a comment and let me know that you came from there. Also review it if you're listening to it somewhere else. It'll really help me out a lot. But I appreciate all of you watching. Like I said, you'll see me on the next one.